The first time humanity spoke to the galaxy, nobody listened. The message was simple, peaceful. A declaration that Earth had finally reached beyond its own solar system and wanted to join the civilizations that had existed among the stars for thousands of years. This is Earth. We come in peace. We seek cooperation, knowledge, and friendship among the stars. The transmission traveled across hundreds of light years. And for the first time in human history, humanity waited for an answer. They expected curiosity. They expected questions. They expected a welcome. They received silence. Not because the message was lost. Not because nobody heard it. But because everyone heard it and decided Earth was not important enough to answer. Across the galaxy, the great civilizations watched humanity's arrival with amusement. The Galactic Council, an organization that represented hundreds of powerful species, had existed for over 5,000 years. It controlled trade routes, settled wars, and decided the future of entire star systems. When Earth requested a seat at the Council, the response was immediate. Rejected. The reason? Humanity was considered too young, too inexperienced, too primitive. A small blue planet on the edge of the galaxy. During the Council meeting, thousands of alien representatives watched the human ambassador stand alone in the center of the chamber. "We are not asking for control," Ambassador Elena Voss said calmly. "We are asking for a chance to contribute." A wave of laughter spread through the chamber. The Carian Empire representative leaned forward. "Contribute," he mocked. "Your species has barely left your own system." Another alien commander smiled. "You spent centuries fighting among yourselves. You are divided, emotional, and unpredictable. Why would the galaxy need your voice?" Elena looked around the enormous hall. Every species there had something humanity wanted. Advanced technology, ancient knowledge, millions of years of experience. But they had forgotten something. Humanity had survived without any of it. "We survived a world designed to kill us," Elena replied. "We crossed oceans before we understood them. We reached the sky before we mastered flight. We entered space before we knew what waited beyond it." The room became quiet, but only for a moment. Then the Council voted. Humanity was denied. Not only denied membership, Earth was classified as an insignificant civilization, a world that would never influence galactic affairs. The message sent back to Earth contained only one sentence. "The galaxy has no need for your voice." For many nations on Earth, the rejection was painful. But something unexpected happened. Humanity did not beg. It did not threaten. It did not start a war. Instead, Earth simply continued building. The galaxy thought humans would disappear into the background. They were wrong. Because while the great empires were busy arguing about power, humanity was learning something they had forgotten. Adaptation. Every civilization in the galaxy had built itself around one advantage. The Carian had unstoppable armies. The Valorians had unmatched science. The Zenthari had economic control. But humanity? Humanity had something different. The ability to survive anything. And when the galaxy faced a threat that none of them could stop, they would finally remember the voice they ignored. The voice they refused to hear. The voice from a small planet called Earth. Because one day, humanity would not ask for a seat at the table. They would become the reason the table existed. For 20 years, the galaxy forgot about Earth. The Galactic Council moved on. New alliances were created. New wars were fought. New empires expanded their borders. And humanity? Humanity worked in silence. The galaxy expected humans to remain a small civilization hidden in the corner of space. They never realized that being ignored gave Earth the greatest advantage of all. While the ancient empires celebrated their superiority, humanity was changing. The first generation of human exploration ships were slow and fragile compared to alien vessels. But every failure became a lesson. Every defeat became a blueprint. Every impossible challenge became another problem to solve. Humanity did not have the oldest technology. They did not have the largest population. They did not have the strongest weapons. But they had something the galaxy underestimated. A refusal to stop. On Earth, scientists worked day and night developing new forms of propulsion. Engineers created ships that could travel farther and faster than anything humanity had built before. The first Terran deep space fleet was born. Not a fleet designed for conquest. A fleet designed for survival. The galaxy laughed when they detected it. A handful of human ships entering unexplored space. A joke. That was what the alien media called it. The little Death World species is finally leaving its nest. The humans believe they can compete with civilizations thousands of years older? They should be grateful we allow them to exist. But then something happened. A human exploration vessel entered a forbidden region of space known as the Silent Zone. For centuries, every civilization avoided it. Not because of danger. Because nothing ever returned. Thousands of ships had disappeared there. The greatest scientists in the galaxy had failed to understand why. The Council declared the region impossible to navigate. Humanity ignored the warning. The exploration ship Odyssey entered anyway. 3 months passed. No signal. No communication. No hope. The galaxy smiled. They believed humanity had finally learned its place. A message appeared. A single transmission from the Silent Zone. This is Human Vessel Odyssey. Mission successful. Returning home. The galaxy froze. Impossible. The same region that destroyed advanced alien fleets had allowed a human ship to pass through. The Council demanded answers. How did humans survive? What technology did they use? What did they discover? But humanity refused to explain. For the first time, the galaxy experienced something unfamiliar. A mystery involving Earth. And then the truth was revealed. The Silent Zone was not a natural phenomenon. It was a battlefield. Hidden deep inside the region were the remains of an ancient civilization that had disappeared thousands of years ago. A civilization that had created technology beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. And the Odyssey had discovered their secret. But humanity did not take the technology. They did something far more dangerous. They understood it. Because the ancient civilization had left behind a warning. A warning that every major empire in the galaxy had ignored. A warning about a coming enemy. An enemy that had destroyed countless civilizations before. An enemy that was returning. The ancient message was simple. When the darkness returns, only the species that can adapt will survive. The galaxy had always believed strength meant bigger fleets. More weapons. More power. But humanity had learned something different. The future did not belong to the strongest. It belonged to those who could change. And for the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy began asking the question it should have asked decades ago. What exactly is humanity? Because the species they ignored was becoming the only species capable of saving them. The galaxy had spent centuries believing it understood power. They measured civilizations by the size of their fleets. They measured leaders by the number of worlds under their control. They measured strength by weapons, resources, and territory. But humanity introduced something the galaxy had never respected. Ingenuity. After the discovery inside the Silent Zone, Earth did not celebrate. They did not announce victory. They did not demand recognition from the Galactic Council. Instead, humanity went back to work. The ancient technology discovered by the Odyssey was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It was not simply a weapon or a faster engine. It was a new way of understanding the universe. A system that allowed civilizations to predict cosmic events, travel through unstable regions of space, and communicate across unimaginable distances. The Council demanded access. They sent hundreds of messages to Earth. Humanity, as a member of the galactic community, you are required to share this discovery. But Earth responded with a single sentence. We were never considered part of your community. The message shocked the galaxy. For thousands of years, powerful civilizations had taken what they wanted from weaker ones. They expected humanity to do the same. But humans refused. They did not want revenge. They wanted respect. Then the impossible happened. The ancient warning became reality. The darkness returned. Across the outer edges of the galaxy, entire colonies began disappearing. Not destroyed. Not conquered. Erased. No survivors. No messages. No evidence. Just silence. The first empire attacked was the mighty Carrion Dominion, the same empire that had laughed at humanity during the council meeting. Their fleet contained over 50,000 warships. They had conquered hundreds of worlds. They believed no enemy could challenge them. But within 3 days, half their territory went dark. Their greatest weapons failed. Their strongest defenses collapsed. Their commanders finally understood what the ancient civilizations had feared. The enemy was not another empire. It was something older. Something designed to eliminate all intelligent life. The galaxy called them the Voidborn, a machine civilization that had existed before recorded history. They did not negotiate. They did not conquer. They simply erased. The Galactic Council finally sent an emergency transmission to Earth. For the first time in decades, they asked humanity for help. Ambassador Elena Voss received the message inside the same chamber where Earth had once been rejected. The same room where alien leaders had laughed. Now they were silent. The galaxy is facing extinction, the council leader said. We need your assistance. Elena looked at the representatives around her. The same species that once claimed humanity had nothing to offer. She remembered their words. The galaxy has no need for your voice. Then she answered, You were right. The aliens looked confused. You did not need our voice. A pause filled the chamber. Until you lost your own. The council had no response. Because for the first time, they realized the truth. Humanity was never weak. Humanity was never behind. They had simply been growing quietly while everyone else stopped improving. Earth had spent years preparing for threats nobody else believed existed. Now those preparations would be tested. The Terran fleet left orbit for the first time. Not as explorers. Not as guests. But as protectors. Thousands of human ships emerged from hyperspace. And every alien commander watching the battlefield froze. Because the small civilization they had ignored had built a fleet larger than anything they imagined. The galaxy finally heard Earth's voice. But this time, humanity was not asking to be heard. They were giving an order. Stand behind us. The arrival of the Terran fleet changed everything. For centuries, the galaxy had seen countless armies. The Carrion war fleets with their massive battleships. The Valorian science vessels carrying weapons beyond imagination. The Zenthari defense networks that covered entire star systems. But none of them had ever seen anything like humanity's response. The Terran fleet did not look elegant. It did not look ancient. It did not carry the symbols of an empire. It looked like a civilization that had spent its entire existence preparing for the worst. Thousands of warships emerged from hyperspace. Titan-class battleships. Guardian carriers. Explorer vessels converted into combat ships. Every vessel was different because every ship represented a different generation of human innovation. Alien commanders watched in disbelief. They built this in secret? No civilization could construct a fleet this advanced without being noticed. But they were wrong. Humanity had never hidden because it feared the galaxy. Humanity had hidden because the galaxy never cared enough to look. The first battle against the Voidborn began near the edge of the Orion sector. The combined alien fleets attacked with everything they had. Millions of missiles. Energy weapons powerful enough to destroy planets. Ancient technologies that had protected civilizations for thousands of years. The Voidborn ignored them. Their machines moved like a single living organism. Every attack was predicted. Every strategy was countered. Within hours, the galaxy's strongest fleets were falling. Then the Terran fleet moved forward. The aliens expected humanity to follow traditional tactics. They expected large formations, predictable movements, standard military strategies. Instead, humans did something no species had ever considered. They adapted during the battle. The Terran commanders changed tactics every few minutes. They studied the enemy. They learned. They evolved. The Voidborn had defeated every civilization because every civilization fought the same way. Humanity was different. The enemy could predict technology. It could calculate weapons. It could analyze strategies. But it could not understand creativity. It could not predict an idea that had never existed before. The flagship of the Terran fleet, the TNS Horizon, moved directly toward the enemy formation. Alien commanders panicked. That ship is approaching the Voidborn core. They will destroy it. But the Horizon continued forward. Inside the bridge, Admiral Marcus Vale watched the enemy closing in. "Sir, their weapons are locking onto us." The crew waited. "Do we retreat?" The Admiral looked at the battlefield. Thousands of ships were depending on them. The galaxy was watching. "No." A moment of silence. "We do what humans have always done." The crew prepared their systems. "We go where everyone else says we cannot." The Horizon entered the enemy formation. Then it activated the technology discovered in the Silent Zone. The entire battlefield changed. For the first time in thousands of years, the Voidborn lost control. Their perfect calculations failed. Their communication networks collapsed. Their ships became vulnerable. The galaxy watched as the impossible happened. A single human ship had broken an enemy that had destroyed countless civilizations. The alien fleets followed immediately. Together they attacked. Not because they suddenly respected humanity. Not because they had forgotten the past. But because they finally understood. Humanity was not fighting for power. Humanity was fighting because someone had to. As the Voidborn forces began to retreat, a message reached every civilization in the galaxy. A message from Earth. A message that would be remembered forever. You ignored our warnings. You ignored our requests. You ignored our voice. The pause. But when the darkness came, humanity still answered. The galaxy was silent, because they finally understood the truth. The species they had refused to hear was now the only voice strong enough to save them. But the battle was not over. The Voidborn had retreated, not defeated, and deep beyond the edge of known space, something much larger was awakening. The galaxy thought the war was over. For the first time in centuries, the Voidborn had been pushed back. The impossible enemy that had erased civilizations had finally met something it could not calculate. Humanity. Across hundreds of worlds, alien populations watched the Terran fleet with a mixture of gratitude and fear. The same species they had ignored. The same species they had called primitive. The same species they refused to give a seat at the table. Had become the shield protecting them all. But humanity knew something the galaxy did not. The first battle was only a test. The Voidborn had not attacked with their full strength. They had only sent an advance force. And somewhere beyond the edge of explored space, the true Voidborn fleet was approaching. The warning from the ancient civilization had one final message. The darkness does not arrive with a roar. It arrives when everyone believes they are safe. Humanity prepared. The Galactic Council wanted to unite immediately. For the first time in history, every major civilization accepted Earth's leadership. The same leaders who once rejected humanity now waited for human orders. But Ambassador Elena Voss refused to become what they feared. She stood before the council and delivered a message. Humanity does not seek control over the galaxy. The alien representatives listened carefully. We do not want your worlds. We do not want your resources. We do not want your surrender. She looked across the chamber. We only want what we asked for decades ago. The pause. Cooperation. The galaxy finally understood. Humanity never wanted to rule. Humanity wanted to belong. The final battle began at the edge of the galaxy. The Voidborn arrived with a fleet larger than anything ever recorded. Millions of machines. A force capable of destroying entire civilizations. The combined galactic fleet prepared for battle. But this time, they did not stand alone. At the center of the formation was the Terran fleet. The ships of Earth moved forward. Not because they were the strongest, but because they were the ones willing to stand first. The Voidborn attacked. The stars themselves seemed to disappear beneath their massive numbers. But humanity had prepared for this moment. Every mistake, every defeat, every impossible challenge throughout history had shaped them. The battle lasted 7 days. 7 days of fire across the heavens. 7 days where civilizations fought side by side. And on the final day, The Terran flagship reached the heart of the Voidborn command network. The horizon was damaged. Its armor was nearly destroyed. Its systems were failing. But it continued. Because that was humanity's greatest strength. Not perfection. Not superiority. Persistence. Admiral Marcus Vale looked at the enemy core ahead. Transmit one final message. The communications officer nodded. What should we say? The admiral smiled. Tell them the species they ignored has arrived. The message traveled across the battlefield. Across every world. Across every star. Then the horizon fired. The explosion was brighter than any star. The Voidborn network collapsed. Their endless army stopped. For the first time in history, the darkness became silent. Years later, the galaxy changed forever. The Galactic Council was rebuilt. But this time, there was a seat waiting for Earth. Not because humanity demanded it, because everyone understood its value. A new symbol was placed in the center of the council chamber. A simple human phrase. Every voice matters, until the moment one voice must lead. The galaxy finally learned the lesson it had ignored for decades. Humanity was never the loudest voice. It was never the oldest. It was never the most powerful. But when everyone else stopped listening, humanity became the voice that saved them all.